What's going on YouTube? Ben here, player.net, and today we're taking a look at the Comrade PC case from our friends over at BitFenix. This case is kind of similar to the Neos case that I had previously reviewed. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check out player.net and you can search for that. This is a nice case. It comes in around just under 40 pounds for the normal version, which is always nice. So it's a decent case. Well, it should be a decent case. And it's not too expensive. Not a whole lot going on the box here, except on either the front or the back, depending on how you want to look at it. Me personally, I'll call it the back. There's a couple outlines of the case showing us some of the features like the tool-free design we've got here, front and bottom dust filters, and then of course there's a side I/O panel, which this is starting to become more and more normal, and personally me, I kind of like it. The way my PC case sits, it kind of sits towards the side I/O panel, sit towards the wall. Not as inviting for children or my children's friends to touch, so it's always nice. And I mean, aside from that, the only other thing we have on it is the Comrade and the BitFenix branding. That's it. I mean, there's really not a whole lot going on, except for this one side here. I apologize. We of course have our specification list. Let us know what the case is made out of, dimension, form factor, and all that type of stuff. But before I bore you too much with the box, I'm going to take it out and we can have a closer look at the Comrade itself. Alright, so as you can see, we've got the white version here. I've gone ahead, taken it out the box so we can have a closer look. Starting off with the front, we of course can see the black BitFenix logo right there in the middle. Setting off, adding a bit of contrast, a bit of, I don't know, flavor you could call it. Just a bit of eye candy, I suppose, or something. It definitely sticks out, the black on the white, of course. We have three 5.25-inch bays for all our optical disc drives, reservoirs, whatever you feel the need, card readers, and all that fun stuff to put in there. Now, the front of the case lifts off nice and easily. It's not quite that easy. I set it up for that. And it reveals the connectors to our front I/O panel, which are actually on the side here, but we'll take a look at those in a minute. And then we also have this nice fan filter here, dust filter, but we'll also notice it doesn't come included with any fans. That's all right with me. You know, at this day and age, a lot of people want to go ahead and put their own fans into the case when they get it, so including fans is not always a big deal. Now, moving around to the side a bit here, as the case is rather small, so we can see all white. This will, of course, be the back side of the motherboard and all that stuff. And down here we have our little I/O panel. We have a power and a reset button, headphone and mic jacks, a USB 2 and a USB 3 port. I think it would have been nice if both ports were USB 3, but for the price, you really can't complain. And while I did quote the price as being 40 pounds, that is for the windowed version. If you go ahead and get the non-windowed version, it's actually only about 30 pounds. But then you can still buy a window for 10 pounds at a later date if you decide you want to. Onto the back of the case, we immediately notice our two water cooling holes here for tubing and whatnot to get inside and out the case depending on how we have our setup. There's a back-mounted 120mm fan, exhaust fan, that we'll take a better look at in a few minutes. We, of course, have our standard 7 PCI expansion bays, plates right here. So that way we can go ahead and get all our graphics cards, sound cards, network cards, USB cards, whatever you need. 7 seems to be the standard number these days, so it should be more than enough to get you going. And we of course also have our bottom mounted PSU hole. Now moving on to the last side of the case, and this is going to be the main side where you would put all your components in. Now as you can see, of course, there's no window on this one, so this would be the 30-pound case. But if you want to, you can go ahead and purchase a separate window for just 10 pounds, or you can buy it with the case. When you purchase the case, you can get windowed or non-windowed version. Now, one of the nice features of those windows is they're actually compatible with the Neos case that BitFenix also makes. So that's quite nice to see that. A couple different cases of compatibility. There are some few distinct differences between the two cases that some users will notice. Moving on to the bottom real quick before we have a look inside. And we of course have 4 feet to help raise the case up, allow for a bit better airflow, and if you're keeping it on the carpet and stuff, you don't want it directly on the carpet. And there's of course a nice little fan filter here that pulls out. You just pull it out the back of the case real nice. Just trying to help keep things clean. That is of course where the PSU will be sucking its air from, so it'll just help keep your power supply cool. I'm going to go ahead and stand this back up and take the side panels off so we can have a look inside. Alright, so now that we've taken the side panels off, we can get a good look inside the case. We of course have a toolless design for all our drives, so that means our 5.25, 2.5, and 3.5 inch drive bays all have, they're all nice and easy to get set up, so we can go ahead. We don't need any screws or screwdrivers to get most of our components installed, aside from the motherboard of course. As you can see, the hard drive trays just clip out. And there is some room here, so you can go ahead and put screws in them so you can secure your SSDs or laptop hard drives, whatever you want to put in there. And the same will go for the 3.5 inch, but the good thing with these is there's actually little clips here those will actually go into the hard drive, so you won't even need to really do anything with it. You can just, you pull it apart a little bit like that, slide your drive in there, then boom, close it up, and then it'll be nice and secure in here. Now as you can see, we have 3 of each drive tray, and on the bottom 3.5 inch, right below it, is of course our little care package from BitFenix. Every case has one of these, so it's not really that big a deal, but it's always nice. We of course have a quick installation guide. And then there's a little bag here with some screws, a motherboard riser, and there's another blanking plate for the rear PCI expansion bays, ports, whatever you want to call them, slots at the back of the case. So you can go ahead and put that up if you want. Also taking a look around the rest of the case, as we can see here, there are of course quite a few cutouts right there to route cables, and as you can see here, the bottom is one big cutout. Now of course that's going to make things easier to route our cables, but at the same time they're going to be more on display. It's going to be a lot harder to hide our cables in this case, especially with the given room on the back of the case being almost non-existent, but we'll cover that in the full review. Of course, we can now as well see, well, you can see the side of it, the rear 120mm exhaust fan. There's a nice big cutout here for easy CPU cooler installation, as you can see. Again, no vents or anything on the top here. There's nothing there. It's a blank piece of metal, so modders can have fun with it, or you can just leave it how it is. This will of course affect the thermal performance a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. As long as you get a couple fans in the front there, nice exhaust fan here, the thermal performance shouldn't be too bad, pardon me. We of course can see all of our front I/O cables in here. They're nice and long, so hopefully they should be able to plug right into wherever we need them to. And that is pretty much it. There's not a whole lot going on in this case. As you can imagine, £30 for the non-windowed version. It's a bit of a budget case, but at the same time it does offer some good options, and yeah, I look forward to building in it. I'll be doing a full review on it, so please make sure to check back for that, player.net, in the near future. Like, subscribe, comment, and please stay tuned for more content in the near future. Thank you.